Hello and welcome to the Build Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and start a Lego set, and of course, hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can throw those into the chat. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes, or if you wanted to just be a lurker and lurk and not say anything, you can also do that. This is a cool space for that stuff. Urban Bohemian says, happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you very much, Ryan. Appreciate that. Harold is here. Ghost Valve is here. Aristophan also says happy affiliate anniversary. And thank you very much for that. It is. Right around this time, 6 years ago, I accepted the offer to become an affiliate. Very short, honestly, legitimately, honestly, pretty shortly after becoming a streamer. Pretty quickly after that, I got affiliate status. And, you know, why? Why did it happen so easy for me, Pat? You're saying, how did that happen so easy, Pat? Well, mostly it's because I was consistent about how often I streamed and when I streamed. And also... thank you, Lashbrook. Also, I had the benefit of having people wanting to see me stream in the very beginning, which was very kind of people that were interested in checking it out and seeing a mod. Some people had never hung out in a model kit building chat before. That was new to them. Other people knew me from comedy stuff or my association with Giant Bomb and PAX and stuff like that. And then there were some people that just really like the idea of a model kit builder with a consistent schedule. I have found that to really be the case. Over the many years of doing this, there are a few things I have learned, which is some people just want to see model kits get built. They don't care about anything else I do, but they're excited about seeing a model kit get completed, and they want to talk about that model kit. There have been times where there are a few people out there that really want to talk about anime. Shout out to Christian. You don't check in that often, and that's okay. But Christian was incredibly interested in the second hour of streams. Came in the second hour and wanted to talk about, because we watched a lot of the same anime. Always wanted to talk about the anime. And there are a couple people that come in on a stream on occasion, but never miss Pat Baer's Anime Club Live when I do the season recap and then the season preview. There are people that are there every time for those. Never see them, rarely, I should say, see them other times. There are many of you that do not care for anime. Many of the kinds of video games I like. Wrestling, couldn't care less. But you like me, and you like maybe you like the consistency of it, or it's a go-to, or you just know that it'll be fun, and that's very heartwarming, and I appreciate it very much. In the beginning, when I was trying to transition into something new, when I was looking forward to the idea of maybe someday not doing comedy as much as I was doing at the time, or my day job, which was at night, but you get the point. Into the transition of the, I don't have a full-time job right now. I have a bunch of part-time jobs. Well, I have this. Into the, my roommate moved out and COVID is happening and I don't talk to people during the day. To, I'm moving to South Carolina for an indeterminate period of time, which is ongoing now. I've been grateful to have this. Lord Crashington saying, hey, Pat, happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you very much, Lord Crashington. I am thrilled to have this outlet to continue to give y'all something a couple nights a week whenever you want to tune in, however you want to tune in. Those that watch the VODs, thank you. Those that watch the YouTube archive, thank you if you're watching this on either of those. And the people that are just like, I don't know, I like Pat's little community. It's nice. Great. I'm grateful for that. What is on the agenda this evening? Well, we have the Rose Gundam. The Rose Gundam is almost done. It's almost completed. We want to put together the sword. We want to put together the core lander, the backpack that is also the transportation of the pilot into the vehicle. And then we gotta set up the action base, the stand that comes with this kit. Um, uh, and then I need to attach some the funnels. We're gonna take parts of the shield off, put them in the funnels. Yes, you sat next to me at PAX once, and I was nice. Well, that's yeah. Also, we went to that diner that's inside the market in Philly, the Philly market whose name I cannot remember. Main Street Market, whatever that is. All the mini shops and places. One of the places you get cheesesteaks in Philly, but there's also like an old school diner in there, uh, and that sticks with me because I was just like, oh, one, it's at a convention, and folks, there are different kinds of conventions and different kinds of your experiences at conventions. For me, conventions are also often uh, very, very busy. And the idea of having a night where I could go out with just a couple people and sit down and have a meal is so lovely. When it's not just like running from thing to thing and being like, oh, I'm going to stop there and eat, or going to a place with like somehow the dinner that was supposed to be like 4 people turned into 17, and we have to go to a different place because the place we went to can only serve 14 of us right now at various tables, and we're just like, oh, I guess the party's moving to this other place, and then it ends up being a place where you can't hear anyone talk because it's also a nightclub. Um, that has happened to me like several times at conventions, various conventions, where I am suddenly at a nightclub, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll take my lanyard off. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. And upcoming PAX West, if you're out there, have fun. I won't be there. I don't think I'm doing a PAX this year, which is weird to say out loud, but true. Things will have to be different, and some stuff's going to have to line up really well for me to do Unplugged this year. I'll say that. Because flights are not good from here to Philly anymore, cost-wise. So, and the train is unfortunately... The train would require someone driving me 2 hours to a train. So that's not feasible. That's not reasonable, I should say. It's feasible, it's just not reasonable. Let's go to the overhead here. All right, so let's build the core lander, which will require a few pieces here. Pretty easy to put this together. Our final sticker will be on this, and then a few other pieces here. But we're pretty much done with the Rose Gundam. And then when we complete the Rose Gundam, we are going to start the Lego Jurassic Park Triceratops Research Kit, which, as you know, is also the dinosaur poop kit. That's right, Lego poop is canonical. It exists. Because it's the scene where they find the Triceratops and look through its feces, and so that scene got recreated in Lego, and that's a very true weird statement. And I was joking about how I wanted it, but I wasn't gonna buy it because it was very expensive. Because of course, this is a Lego set that people have a desire for, and why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they desire this particular kit? So, but then Bunny Fiend. I mean, dinosaurs pooping bricks is appropriate for Lego. Yeah. So we got the big mound. We'll get the Dino mound. We'll get to that at some point. But yes, Bunny Fiend donated enough bits for me to get it. Because I was talking about how I wasn't even going to put it on my wish list because it was expensive. But then Bunny Fiend was like, "No, what if you just got it?" Which is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous thing. All right, so this is the top part of our core lander. This is the bottom part of the core lander. This is the cockpit. So the idea of G Gundam is you're in a vehicle. You shoot up to the back of the kit or your Gundam, and then the core lander kind of folds and becomes the backpack, and then the pilot who is in here enters the back of the kit and then goes up, and there's a whole other thing that happens, but that is the idea. Instead of it opening from the front and you have to like get yourself up there. Instead, you just float on up there. All right, so let's get this cockpit. Cockpit is in black, so we'll do that. The main thing that we have to talk about tonight, obviously we don't have to talk about it, but I did want to talk about it. We should talk about Charles Martinet. Charles Martinet will no longer be the voice of Mario. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. No longer be the voice of Mario, and will be fulfilling a new role within Nintendo as an ambassador, which he already kind of does. Let's talk about capitalism once again, how it's ruining everything. Yes. So, John says the voice of Mario will only be Chris Pratt. Okay, obviously, that is the both worst case scenario and joke, right? That's the joke you make, right? The joke you make is there's only one man who can be Mario. It's a him, Chris Pratt. Clearly, that is not the case. Well, Lord Crashing, yes, they're not going to do that. It's not real because there already is someone else doing the voice of Mario. We don't know who that is, but the next Mario game, which you've already seen a trailer for, that wasn't Martinet. He's not doing this next game. Wonder. I couldn't remember it for a second. It's for whatever reason not particularly memorable to me. Wonder is being voiced by someone else. Nintendo confirmed with Kotaku that someone else is doing the voice. That is not Charles Martinet, who has been the voice of Mario since the N64 days. Obviously, there are other people who have voiced Mario, both in live action and animation. People are like, well, Charles Martinet is Mario, and he is. But also, Captain Lou Albano is Mario. And Chris Pratt is Mario, yes. A voice actor whose name I cannot remember is Mario from the Mario animated movie that was Japanese only and has never had an official translation. That is one of the first isekai, anime isekais to be on film. Bob Hoskins is also Mario. There have been many Marios. Now, of course, Charles is a Mario and a wonderful Mario. The thing is, he's been doing the as Mario, he's been doing the ambassador stuff for a very long time. In the Wii days, I went to the Nintendo store in New York City. Went in the Nintendo store, and there was this display where there was a monitor, and Mario was there. And Mario was talking to kids and could see, because of the way a webcam was set up, it was a VTuber. It was VTuber Mario in the era of the Switch. Mario was talking and mouth was moving. It wasn't as good as VTubers, but there was some motion capture, and there was a webcam set up on top of this television so that Charles Martinet could see and could acknowledge people. And I'm walking around with my friends, and at one point, Mario, we kind of just walk up and we see what's going on, and we're going to go up the stairs. But then Mario goes, "Oh, Chris, hello," and says hi to my friend Chris. And then Mario is buddies with my friend and starts talking to my friend, because some people are ahead of me here. My friend is Chris Kohler, now of the people who gave you Atari 50, Digital Eclipse, then of Wired, and shortly, briefly at Kotaku. But Chris and I have known each other since high school. So, also, Charles Martinet has known Chris since the N64 days, because Chris wrote a book about Nintendo and focused a lot of his writing on Nintendo. So, of course, Charles Martinet knows Chris Kohler, and as Mario, wanted to say, like, literally, did it in character, not planned, but was like, oh, well, hey, that's Chris Kohler. I should say hi to him. And that is because Charles Martinet rules. And so a bunch of kids turned around and looked at us because Mario knew knew somebody. It's one of my favorite weird little stories about that place, and also my friendship with Chris. It is an odd element. Uh, Chris, very well known at PAX and in the Nintendo store. Hey, Harold, you have a good night. I was at E3 with a long Wii line, and he was one of the on the big screens they had set up to talk to people as they walked by. Very nice in his secret webcam area. Yes, yeah. So he would do that a lot. So he's already been doing it. Now, obviously, he was doing it as as Mario, and he won't do that in the future. Who's this? Who's going to be the new Mario? I don't know. We've as I said, we have heard it already. We already kind of know who the new Mario is, or we know of the new Mario voice. Spoiler alert: the new Mario voice sounds a lot like Charles Martinet, but not fully. It's the sound alike. But yeah, he's moving on to a new role. I think that's good for him, right? Also, this I assume that this partnership either one allows him to do other voiceover work, which he has done in the past, and two, maybe keeps him from doing that stuff, and just keeps him around. And I think that's fine. I think you protect Charles Martinet and you make sure that he is secure in his finances and not worried about anything. You pay the keep Charles Martinet cool fee. Let's see. And there's gonna be a video message of him and Miyamoto are gonna do a video message at some point soon. Okay, so I'm sorry. I said Mario 64. Mario 64 is when he becomes known as the voice of Mario. It's not the first time he was the voice of Mario. Because I've never played Mario Teaches Typing. I've never played it, but that's 2 years before Mario 64. So he was the very first time he was the voice of Mario was a typing game in 1994. I already knew how to type, so I never played it. But yeah, that's his first appearance as the voice of Mario. That to me is also kind of fun that the first time he did Mario, it wasn't for a Nintendo game. It was for a PC game. That's a fun fact that you can say at a party right there. Also, hey, I keep saying the voice of Mario. He voiced a lot of other people. He's the voice of Luigi and Wario, Baby Mario, Metal Mario, Waluigi, of course. And he has he does a voice in the Super Mario Brothers movie, the animated movie. And I guess I don't know. I won't say what it is, but he did a voice in that. I won't say what it is. You can because maybe some people haven't seen it and still plan on seeing it and would like to not know that. But we knew he was in it because he was listed in the cast. But maybe you don't want to know what his special appearance in that movie was. But it's nice. It's nice. And he's been in other video games. He's done various other work. Also, it was mentioned he's going to do Vine full time. For a while there, Charles Martinet was just doing weird Vines as Mario and Luigi. He had little Mario and Luigi's, and he was like just making quick little Vines doing the voices. And eventually that just fucking stopped. And you have to imagine that someone in Nintendo was like, Charles, you can't do the Mario voice for free. Like just like randomly on your own dime. Like Charles, please, Charles. You could have a Vine account. You just can't do this. Please. Yes, he was in DB Superhero, Dragon Ball Superhero, as Magenta, which is a fun character. It's a fun little bit of business for him. And then he also did retweet and said, my new adventure begins. You are all number one in my heart. #woohoo, which is an excellent use of hashtags. But yes, we wish Charles Martinet the best. He rules. And it's cool that he is still working at Nintendo. And I don't know what he's going to be doing as ambassador, but again, probably more of the same. Yeah, now he can do Vines full time. Yes. He can get in there and do his thing. Maybe he'll start a TikTok. I don't know. Charles Martinet also could already have a TikTok. I don't know, but maybe he'll have a TikTok. He does have a very ancient website with small little QuickTime videos that you can look at if you want to. If you were interested in knowing what's going on with him, you can check out some QuickTime videos of some of his reels and various things he has done. So I am going to take a photo of. We're going to take this off here so we can get our sword, our beam saber. We'll put the beam saber on. I'm going to take a photo of this setup with the core lander, and then we'll put the core lander in, and then we will take a photo. Well, then we'll put it on its stand and take a photo with the what are we calling these things? The name escapes me. Yes, we got to do the funnels. That's right. We got to build our funnels here. So yeah, that was the thing I really want to talk about. I want to talk about Mr. Martinet. In the second hour tonight, about 35 minutes from now, we will be discussing some anime and some manga. One of the anime shows that I normally talk about, Zom 100, did not have an episode this week because of once again, for the second time, we have been, an anime that I watched has been postponed due to the 2023 World Athletic Championships. So there was no Zom 100 this week. But we'll talk about the episode of Sweet Reincarnation where there was a lot of maneuvering and politics. And again, no cooking. Spoiler. But then we're also going to talk about two manga. And they're very different kinds of manga. So we'll chat about those. One is both an isekai and a banished story. The banished kicked subgenre. And the other is a romance series that's very good. I think Charles has a TikTok with one video on it of him doing all the Mario voices and only 33 followers. That's also totally possible. Possible, if not probable. All right, so how do I connect this here? Okay, so this goes like this. So this goes and pops in here. Like that, yeah. Boom. There it goes. So now the core lander is a backpack, and we got our sword here, and then we're going to put it on its stand, and then we're going to build all of the cool, and use the stand to put in all of these funnels. I'm going to remove these and separate them by letters here. So we got A. These just pop off. This is B. And then we need C and D are here on the back. That's C. Let's go in alphabetical order. And that's D. And these are easy enough to put back on because you just follow the gold line there. So it's easy enough to figure out how to put those back on when the time is right. If I wanted to display that. And kind of the lapels being off is not the best look. I like the full shield instead of the partial shield, but I don't know. It's still pretty cool. And the funnels should look neat, because they have cool, clear blue, which is a fun color looking. So yeah, I'm pretty psyched about that. I gotta build 4 sets of those. Just get out we need H 6. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if there's any video. We're talking video games, so maybe we can talk something else going on in the world of video games here. I still have not bought the Cyberpunk game. I have not purchased that game. I have thought about it. Certainly, I will say that I keep thinking about it. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. I keep wanting to say Cyberpunk. It's not. It's Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Is out right now. Is $40. I keep thinking about it. I have not pulled the trigger on it yet. I might at some point pick that game up. Also, Goodbye Volcano High comes out at the end of the month, and I'm most likely picking that up. There's a demo out there for that. You want to check that out? I'm probably going to pick that up because Goodbye Volcano High just seems fucking cool. So I'm probably going to get that at some point as well. You know, video games, they keep coming out. There are 10 notable indies releasing on August 29th. If I had to just wonder, like, why would all these games come out on that day? Why would a bunch of video games, indie video games, small video games, smallish video games come out on the 29th? Because there are several. You're right. You're exaggerating, but you're right. I would say the answer is most likely a very simple one. People want to get the fuck out of the way of Starfield. Starfield comes out on September 6th, and people want to have their video game out before September 6th. I fully believe that is the legitimately main reason why these games are coming out on the 29th and not a week later. The making of Karateka just announced for that date. It's at least $20. Yeah. Karateka or Karateka. It's Karateka, but I learned it as Karateka because when I knew about that video game, there was no easy way for me to learn how it was actually pronounced. So I just called it Karateka. I'm fairly confident that it's Karateka. So, you know, I've been wrong about it my whole life. But, you know, what are you going to do? It could be Karateka. I'll admit, folks. So Digital Eclipse is doing a collection about of the game. They're doing a comprehensive. They're doing what they did for Atari 50, but for one video game, and it's going to be part of a series. I always said it as Karateka. So I think it's Karateka, but I always said Karateka. This is the first time Karateka has been published in 40 years. Yeah, because it was just like a dude put it out and various incarnations. But it's basically like the director's commentary special edition of it. And there's going to be a lot of video stuff for it. But it's going to be in that style of Atari 50 of like really putting it out there and letting the people know what's going on about the game, like a celebration of the game, which is very fucking cool. I'll admit, have not watched any of the trailers or short videos they put out to promote it. I'm excited that it exists, but I have not actually watched any of the videos, and I should because friends of mine are working on it. I love the announcement they had recently where they included someone's fan sequel, The Wrath of Dude. I did not see that. I did not know they included that. But they're including a lot of stuff in it, which makes sense. But they're including footage of the rotoscope stuff, which is just his dad. His dad just doing cool shit in the backyard. And some interviews with him about the music and a bunch of other things, and it sounds incredibly comprehensive. Next thing, tell me One Must Fall 2097 is coming back and I'll explode. I don't believe that. They did work on Jordan's old prototype for a different game in there to include in there. Yes. Hi, Lysandus. Welcome. Yeah, so it's cool. They're doing a lot of cool stuff for that game. And I'm excited that it exists. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out on August 29th. Is the point? Uh, let's see. The Metal Gear Solid collection has been described by some as barely HD. That when it comes out, it will be barely HD. Uh, Several games will only run at 720p according to a new round of previews. As again, thanks to the fine folks at Kotaku for collecting this. Um, let's see. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 Soul Eater will only run at 720. The same as their previous HD versions on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So basically, it seemingly is probably just those versions again. Konami's back. Yeah. Because, like, hey, that collection is like 5 games. And so it makes sense that it's not like what everybody, they're not going through and really like giving like a graphics overhaul or putting it in a different, completely unique engine and all that stuff that like you might think they would do or hope they would do or would be very pleased if they did. Like, it's one of those things you're just like, yeah, it makes sense. It's not great, but it makes sense. Let's see. Well, so obviously previews, right? It's not done. You might think to yourself, well, Pat, I bet it doesn't run well on the Switch. And you'd be right, because apparently, hey, it does run well on the Switch because it's locked. Metal Gear, the HD remasters, the original ones, ran it at 60 frames per second, but 2 and Snake Eater are capped at 30 frames per second on the Switch, which is half the frames they had on the PS3. And who knows? It's preview stuff, right? Things aren't done. Things are going to get tweaked. It sounds like a lot of stuff isn't going to be fully tweaked, but like they're working on it. And also, I don't think that's the place to play those games. You might want to, but I don't know. It's a whole thing. The games are so unchanged that Konami provided a content warning about some references that might seem out of place in 2023. And that, look, I will say this, that makes sense, right? That graphically is a thing that people were hoping for. Content-wise was not necessarily a thing that people wanted or expected. But yeah, let's see. However, these elements have been included without alteration to preserve the historical context in which the games were made and the creator's original vision. So, for example, smoking cigarettes to get a buff might not be included in in a game in 2023. Or, Dr. Naomi telling him he can do a strip search of her after he completes his next mission might not be a line of dialogue in 2023. Perhaps it wouldn't be. There are better / worse examples, I'm sure. But don't worry, folks. There's the tuxedo outfit for Snake in the expansion to Metal Gear Solid 1. Integral is in there. So if you play through 1, you can get the alternative tuxedo outfit. So they are listening to the fans. I don't know if they're listening to the fans, but they are including that. So that's good. Good on them, I guess. Yes. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah. Again, I'm just patiently waiting for them to do the next collection, which will, of course, include Revengeance, the best Metal Gear game. Now, when I say that Revengeance is the best Metal Gear game, some people get very fucking mad about that. And those people are fans of other Metal Gear Solid games. And I understand that. and I respect it. But also, I'm not lying. This is not me. You know me. I don't troll. I don't say shit on purpose to aggravate folks and rile people up and get in on that shit. I just really like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. I think it whips ass and was really fun to play and is the most fun I've had with a Metal Gear game because you haven't played Revengeance. Revengeance has like a bunch of heart to it. It's some dumb nonsense. There's some dumb nonsense in a good way. There's some dumb nonsense in a not so good way. But like, I don't know, you're doing really cool shit and then like awesome guitar metal plays. Like guitar ass forward guitar metal. Fucking whips ass just like as you're doing cool shit. And then just you get a metal dog friend. It's just like some cool shit. It's some good ass shit in Revengeance. Like, obviously, I like 5. I like 5 a lot. But guess what? There's the thing in 5 where you have to crawl around and hide from people. And you do it more than once in the game. You replay the worst part of the game. Happens twice. So I can't ever say that 5 is the best Metal Gear game. It's the one I had of the main Metal Gears. It's the one I've had the most fun with. Metal Gear Solid games, of course. It's the one I've had the most fun with. But I can't pretend like it was my it's my favorite or nothing because, as I said, there's some dumb bullshit in that game that I just can't. I cannot abide. Some real dumb bullshit in 5. Also, the fact that, I mean, we don't have to get into the almost naked lady sniper, silent sniper, who the reason why she doesn't wear any clothes is she can absorb sunlight. Who exits the fucking video game, like dramatically, reasonably exits the video game, but they patched it so if you do a bunch of nonsense over and over and over again with Quiet, she'll come back, and which is cowardly. It's utterly cowardly that if you do this one mission over and over and over again, eventually she'll come back. That should have been a mod, not actually in the game. Not a addendum of like, you know what, we're gonna make it so the lady comes back. Don't you fucking worry about it, everybody. We got your backs. The lady shall return. It's this one here. Yeah, it's this one. That always bothered me. But again, Revengeance whips ass. So get in on it if you haven't. I don't know why you would at this point if you haven't before, but it is good. Let's see. Other things we could talk about here. I don't remember that happening with MGS. I do with Detroit though. Ugh. I don't remember much of Detroit. I blocked a lot of that out. I did not play a lot of it, but I definitely blocked much of that game out of my mind. And when I hung out with people who were playing it. Of course, I remember about the Underground Railroad, because how the fuck could I forget the analogies, the very heavy-handed analogies to the Underground Railroad present in that video game. One of the most heavy-handed games I've ever come across. Why can't I slip this piece on? It needs to go on like this. This goes like this, and then this goes on here, but you don't go. There you go. There you go. Now you're on there. These funnels, I think, look really cool, but they're kind of annoying to put together. But I do think they look neat. Once we got all these together, I think it's going to look pretty cool. So we'll just kind of freehand it, how they are displayed. But I do think they look pretty neat. Let's see. What else can we talk about here? Let's see. All In is this Sunday. We'll probably do like a full breakdown on Thursday because I imagine on Saturday we will hear about like the last couple of the pre-show matches because they have not really gone into detail about the pre-show matches yet. Other than the very first one, which is of course Adam Cole and MGF challenging for the Ring of Honor titles. But I assume that as time progresses, they will include more of those, and they haven't yet. But yeah, I think by Thursday, we'll know the full card. Baldridge says, I put MGS on the same level as Yakuza. Very fun games with some not so great parts. Of course, I say that right as you try to change topics. No problem, Baldridge. It's okay. That's, there's a delay. That is part of it. People are typing stuff. I rarely am annoyed when people are like, no, I have more to say about the topic that you were discussing. Like, I'm rarely mad about that. I think the only time that ever has actually bothered me is when I have moved on and I'm like deep into another conversation and someone's just like, well, I wasn't done talking about that. And it's like, okay. But yeah, segue, indeed. But yeah, we'll know the full rundown of matches. Of course, on Saturday, we had the confirmation of CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, a match we've already seen that ended kind of conclusively and doesn't really need to be run back and kind of doesn't make any sense to run it back because it doesn't really need it and is kind of a waste of both of them to have another one-on-one. It's just a singles match. It's technically for the Real World Championship, but that doesn't... I don't care about that, so it doesn't really do anything for me. That it's like, oh, well, it's for Punk's title. It's like, no, it's not. That's not a real belt. He lost the world title. He just held on to the actual physical title. It doesn't matter. I mean, none of it matters, but particularly that doesn't matter to me. So... it's one of the least interesting matches on the card. Lovatronica just subscribed. That's for 20 months using Prime. Thank you very much. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego site emote in the chat. Thank Lovatronica very much for their the Real World Championship. Yeah, no. It's the Real World Championship, not the Real World Championship. But thank you very much. Appreciate that, Lovatronica. I would say the two matches that I care about the least that are currently on the All-In card, again, the biggest wrestling show, in London's history, going to be one of the biggest draws. It'll never be the biggest because that's the show in North Korea. That'll always probably be the biggest because it was mandatory. But that'll probably always be the largest gate for wrestling, or not gate, but attendance for wrestling. It'll be very difficult to ever beat that. Let's see. So I want to do... yeah. The matches that I care the least about are CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, as I said, because it really doesn't mean anything or do anything for anybody. It doesn't do anything for me. We've already seen it very recently. And then Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. I fully believe that will be a competent match put on by two people that can work. But it is not what I want to see. I don't really need to see Jericho on that card at all, if I'm being honest. But I definitely want something better for Ospreay. I mean, hopefully it'll be a fun thing and, won't totally ruin his momentum. But it's not necessarily what I was looking for. I don't need to see, because he has other stuff going on, certainly, but I don't need to see Kenny versus... Ospreay so soon. I think you can wait on that and it'll be fine. Speaking of which, that's Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page, the Golden Elite. They will be taking on Takeshita and Juice Robinson and Jay White of Bullet Club Gold. I think that's going to be a fun 6-man. That'll be good. One of the matches I'm looking forward to the most is Eddie Kingston, Best Friends, which in this case is Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta, and the Lucha Brothers taking on Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and 3 TBA. I am hoping that one of the TBAs is a man that has feuded many times with Orange Cassidy and is also British, because right now there are 2 Brits on the card. There are 2 British people on the card and a Brit. That's not Dr. Britt Baker. But yeah, there's not a lot of British folks on this card due to injury or low placement on the roster. But Zack Sabre Jr. is an obvious choice for that and would make sense for that match. And I don't know who else they would... I don't know who's going to fill out that squad. I have no idea. Yes, it is a shame that Jamie Hayter is injured, not just because she would be great on this card and it would make a lot of sense for her to be there, but also just in general, it's a shame because she's so good and was having a fun enough title run that is a shame that she is currently injured. We wish her the best, a speedy recovery, a safe and speedy recovery. Darby Allin and Sting are taking on the Mobile Embassy, in this case AR Fox and Swerve Strickland. That'll be a nonsense thing. You definitely want to have, you definitely wanted to have this happen. You wanted to have, you very much wanted to have Sting on the card. It just makes sense. And that's very cool. And then Karashida versus Tony Storm versus Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker. Hey, Saraya's going to win because she's British. And they'll cheer for her. And Shida is a transitional champion. And you're like, it sucks that Shida won just to lose. And you're right. It sucks that Shida won just so they can have a big main event where a title change stands out of nowhere on the 200th episode of Dynamite. Yes, that does suck. It all sucks. It sucks that she will not have a long reign as the second champion. It sucks that her title reign is a weird afterthought. She could theoretically win. Hey, you know what? Let's look at a loophole here. There's a loophole with this. Because like, right now there are 2 British folks on the card. Saraya and Will Ospreay. Both are probably going to win. Maybe Shida wins because her English... I said that weird. When Hikaru Shida speaks English, she has a slight British accent because her practical English comes from, in part, watching a lot of Harry Potter movies. So part of her English does have a British accent due to that fact. So perhaps that counts enough. It doesn't. And then, of course, in 0 Hour, Grado, the pride of the United Kingdom and Great Britain, will pin Jeff Jarrett. That match probably isn't going to happen, but it could. It could happen, but it won't. Tony Khan's not gonna have Grado come out, but it would be cool. And if you're asking, Pat, who's Grado? Grado is every wrestling fan in the United Kingdom's dad's favorite wrestler. He is a comedy wrestler. He is a little closer to Colt Cabana than Orange Cassidy in that he does a lot of comedy stuff. Maybe even more like to Santino Marella. He's not a great wrestler, but he's very funny in a local sense. I don't know if Grado's gimmick would work internationally. I think it very much works in the part. Also, even though he's signed to Impact, there have been Impact wrestlers who have appeared in AEW in the past. Tony Khan, please have Joe Hendry at least in the 0 Hour. Have Joe Hendry show up. Joe Hendry fucking rules and is loved in the United Kingdom. Says it in his theme song. They love him in London and Paris and Tokyo. Joe Hendry is just a great a great wrestler and as I said, beloved in that country. So it would be cool if he appeared. I don't think he will. I'm going to take a photo of this because this kit is done. I will show you here. So the overhead, you can see the stand here. But yeah, we got the cool funnels from the shoulders here, all decked out. The roses, these beautiful roses are flying around. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this for displaying. This is going to join my display. The God Gundam is coming out of rotation. You can see I even removed the horse. The horse is coming out of rotation. This is joining my rotation of display. I think I'm going to keep the roses for a while, but this is going to be a pain in the ass to constantly be moving on and off my bed, which is what this is. I think over time I'm going to get really annoyed with these things not sitting well, and I'll just put them back and they'll just become part of there. Yes. Oh, Lashbrook says congratulations on beating me to finishing it. Yes. Lashbrook, get back in there. This kit is not a difficult kit, obviously. I'm not putting pressure on you, my friend. Take your time. Do what you need to do. But this kit was fun to build. And yeah, as I said, I already just dropped one of these immediately. So I don't think that this is going to end up in the display. I think I'm just going to put them back on there. And then we'll just have this nice clear blue stand to display it on. This was included. This stand was included in the kit because of the funnels, which I think is an excellent addition. Oh, I got an update. Because Levitronica renewed their subscription, you have the rose bits and display arms left. Oh, nice. Yeah. My record is now 147. I don't know the next time I'll ever have this many subscribers. It's because we got the 100 dropped on us. I don't think I'll ever get back up this high, but it's wild. Anyway, I'm going to take a photo of this and we're going to wrap up this kit and then we'll move on to some Lego. We'll at least get it set up and then we'll take our pause to the calls. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel and all that. And then we'll get into build it and such here. We just pop this back and we'll get a nice shot of the roses. Cool. All right, and that's going to do it for this kit. So, very fun build. I'm going to have to put it over here, I think, because I need a lot of room for all of this Lego that's coming down in just a moment. Okay, that's right. It's time to move on to our next kit, and we are going to switch over to the Jurassic Park kit. Say goodbye to the Rose Gundam. We'll see it in displays. But yeah, we're working on this kit here. The Jurassic Park Triceratops Research Kit, which is our next build we'll be doing here. We got Dr. Ellie. We got Dr. Ian Malcolm. Breakfast and Bills. Nice. And we got the Triceratops. This is a 281-piece kit. Thank you very much to Bunny Fiend for donating bits cheered specifically for me to purchase this kit, which I appreciate very much. This is part of the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary. This does, of course, have the dinosaur poop, which is why it's an expensive kit, because it is in demand, because people were like, I also want this Lego set. That's a silly idea. I also want the included kit. We've got plenty of stickers for our vehicle here, which is the main portion of the build, of course, is the vehicle. I'm going to need... That poop isn't cheap. It is not cheap. No. People know. People wanted it, and so it was in demand. Oh, wow. Lord Crashing wants me to hit the dance button, and I will. Here's the dance button. Some of this fucking came in paper. What? We got... What? All right, yeah, I'm going to hit the dance button. Thank you for using your channel points for this. I don't know the last time I saw a bag. What? Okay. I want to hear that. I want to hear that bass line. All right, so we got 3 bags here. We got 1, 2, 3. We'll put those bags aside. We'll open these 2 bags here. Got a little recycling we can do in here. And in there we've got, Triceratops parts, looks like. Or not Triceratops. Yeah, Triceratops, yeah. So I can recycle that, which is nice. Recycled paper bags, yes. So they put some of this in here in recycled paper bags here, which is very cool. Like that. Yeah. Our Triceratops here, which does have the Lego pieces, so you can put a minifig on top. As you can see, we got a Nedry over here. Dennis is on. I kept this aside, which I think is fun to just have in the corner there. But yeah, and a decent sized little booklet here. As you can see, you got bag one, you got Triceratops and one long piece here. And we're going to start by building our Triceratops. And of course, we also will knoll this whole bag. Good luck figuring out how the Triceratops goes together. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I assume, like, well, that's probably a hind leg. And these are the front legs. Yeah, we'll just pop these together before we take our pause for the cause. Talk about ways you can support the channel and all that other stuff. Yeah, this thing rules. Boom. Triceratops. Can I get these to stay on here? Hell yeah. Dino Tower. We got a Dino Tower. That is very silly. That's a silly bit of business that we can do here. You can skip the instructions on how to put these together. Triceratops. Oh, our very first thing, yeah, we do have we got to build Ellie. We don't need that. I don't know if I like that it's just 6 big pieces or it isn't made of 50 smaller pieces. I think that it is fine that it is big pieces. I think the same reason why I like that the this dinosaur is 2 pieces. It's just the jaw, and then the rest of the kit, I just attach the jaw, and then it's got a little rubber to it. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I'm fine with this being 6 pieces instead of a bunch of them, because there are a lot of curves, and you can only do so much with curves. Then I remember they're just like, we made it. We just made it instead. I think that's fine. I'm okay with that. So we're going to be knolling, which is to separate here by color, and then make your life easier. We're going to do one bag at a time. We'll do 1, 2, and 3. And we'll be getting all this together here and kind of sorting through all of this after our pause for the cause, which we're doing right now, which is my ad break. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything. So when I say that ads, I'm saying this is my promotional segment where I talk about myself and ways that you, the consumer, can support me, the producer of content. All the things I'm going to talk about here are optional. You are under no obligation to do it. If you would like to make a donation in any way, shape, or form, support me in any way, you're more than welcome to. You being here is a lot. It means a lot to me. So you don't have to do any of these extra steps. But if you wanted to, scratch my nose there, you can. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through cash money, or you can use your credit card or debit card or whatever, or as we had with Levitronica, subscribing with Prime, using your Amazon Prime linked account to Twitch. You get that token, you can use it on anybody, and you could use it for me. It's a way to support me. You could also gift a sub. You could join Bunny Fiend and Bobby Dice Roller and J Devil with gifting subs to the community, which is wild and great. Or cheer like Bunny Fiend and Harold has done, which is also fucking great. That's the way to support me via Twitch. Because I still feel you get emotes, you don't see ads if you subscribe. It's the easiest way for you to support me. Now, if you wanted to support me a different way, you want to be outside the Twitch ecosystem, you still want to give me a hand, you could jump over to my Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer. There is a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards at the different tiers, and I would say that the most bang for your buck for me, your most bang for your buck is Patreon. or Switch. And for Patreon, it's me. I do the best on there. Just because the cut is better on Patreon. That's it. And it's still a cool place. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/Pat Baer. That's my YouTube channel. Subscribing to my YouTube is free, and I would like it if you did that. While you're over there, if you wanted to become a member to my YouTube channel, you could. And for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So that's something to consider. And all through the backlog of all that. You could also do a one-time donation if you would like to. Through Coffee or Stream Elements or PayPal, you could directly send me some money, and everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I take money out of that fund and I buy model kits and equipment. The Gundam Rose, which we just finished. The Gundam Rose, which we finished tonight, I was able to pre-order this kit from Premium Bandai because of your generosity. Past you helped out current me. And so current you could help out future me if you were so inclined. Now, the most convoluted way to ever support me, as Bunny Fiend did, was to donate directly enough money via Cheer for me to buy a model kit that I was considering not adding to my wish list. The easiest way for you to support me and buy a kit, get a dedicated YouTube video on my YouTube channel about the kit that you've purchased, have it jump the queue and become the next thing that I build so it's not going to my backlog. That is to jump over to my Amazon wish list. You buy something on a wish list, it comes in the mail. Again, make a video about it, and then it becomes the next thing I build because that's the least I could do. I have inexpensive Lego sets. I've got model kits of all various prices, cheap all the way up to fairly expensive, all the way up to incredibly expensive. Why is this kit so pricey? And everything in between. All kinds of different stuff that I would be thrilled to build if you wanted to buy it for me to build it. See if there's something there you'd like to see. No pressure, obviously, but something. And there's some gear at the bottom because it's nice having some options. Because maybe you want to support me, but you just don't know what to buy. And that's reasonable. I have a Throne wish list, which is my alternative to Amazon. Throne is a nice little place. Take a look there, see if there's something there you want to buy through that wish list. A lot more gear over there. And then the other convoluted way to support me financially is to go to USA Gundam Store. Buy a gift card at USA Gundam Store. You get an email with that gift card code. Then send me a DM on Twitter or a whisper on Twitch with that gift card code, which I will then use and build a model kit. Wow. Sorry, I went to check. I don't know how much I can say about this. I went to check my DMs, and there was a DM from someone who I do not know asking me a very personal question about a mutual friend of ours. And again, I don't know who this person is, but they are asking something incredibly personal about someone who they would have to know I went to high school with. Somebody I went to high school with, and this other person who I think I also might have gone to high school with, but I don't recognize their name, asked me a very specific question about them. And it threw me the fuck off, because it was like, sorry to bother you, and I clicked on it. And that sorry to bother you was not an ad for a porn site. It was a very specific thing that completely rocked me for a second. Sorry about that, everybody, but I did want to say it because it was really weird. I'm not getting into specifics on that one any more than I just did. I have a Discord. You could join my Discord if you want. It's a nice place, and you're welcome to join it. That's not weird, unlike the other thing that happened. A couple of video links for you to check out. Then we'll get back to working on this Lego. We'll start Nolan our Lego pieces and get that going in just a moment here. Moving my dinosaur. Video links I want you to check out. Pat Baer's Anime Club. Of course, I'll have a new episode up on Monday, but currently, if you want to watch this episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, you should check it out, because it's me recommending some shows you might have missed in the early part of 2023. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I write and perform a piece of comedy, and I do my best to like make sure that I'm off book or I've rehearsed it at least a couple times. Check out this one. This is my longest one I've done, I think, ever in this series, lengthwise. And it is a wrestler who is apologizing for all the bad stuff they used to do. And it's me rattling off a fun list of things that this character is apologizing for. And I think it's probably my favorite. I don't know if it's my best one. I mean, honestly, the best one I've done is probably the pun of the doctor will see you now. It's me, I'm the doctor, I see you. And I say it in a weird voice. Because that's just fucking funny. I didn't describe it well, but that one's probably the best one. It's probably my best. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some manga and then some anime here, as we know. So we'll get into that in a second here. Also, got to drink some water. So I'm going to do that. And while I'm drinking water, maybe you want to stretch out. Maybe you want to have a beverage. And then we'll get into some Lego Nolan. And we'll dramatically transition back to the overhead right now. It's also time for meds. Sometimes it's time for your meds, folks. What can I say? All right, so we are just going to separate by color, and then also we'll build our minifig here of Ellie. But we're just going to separate here by color from bag one, and then we will start putting stuff together. I am just separating here. I try to separate like dark gray from the light gray, so I'm not accidentally messing myself up. Obviously, in a kit like a Star Wars ship, you're going to have a lot of gray, and you're going to be dealing with that. Like black, navy blue, dark gray, and light gray are like the primary Star Wars colors. There's just a lot of it in there, so less problematic here working on a vehicle with a lot of bright colors. Okay, so I want to talk to you about some manga, because I've only got one anime to chat about, so we'll do Manga Monday here. Talk about two things. The first one is, I was exiled from the hero's party, so I tried raising the demon lord to be unbelievably strong. So this is an isekai. It is a summon to a different world story, but the thing is, our guy is already a hero. He is already an adventurer. He's already doing stuff. So it's not the salaryman died and was reborn in another place. This guy was summoned, and the goddess is like, hey, we're summoning heroes. The demon lord needs to be taken care of. We got stuff to do. Please lend us your assistance. And this guy's like, you know what? Sure, I'm looking for an adventure. This sounds fun. He's very strong, and he's like totally willing to help out. If the name is 10 plus words, I'm already assuming it's an isekai. So yeah, Rose Nieviti, that is fairly accurate. I mean, obviously, generally, not all the time, but most of the time, a title has a lot of words because it is a light novel. A lot of light novels are isekai. Not all light novels are isekai. Not all isekai start out as light novels, but it is a thing. So our main guy gets summoned, right? Hey, turns out he's not the only person summoned. There are a lot of other people that are there from various worlds, and it seems like our Earth is probably one of them. Various heroes have been summoned. That's weird. What's even weirder is this country's gear cannot recognize the abilities of our main guy. He is so strong and so overpowered. Even before he got to that world, he was overpowered that they are like, well, you don't register as anything. This is a dud. The goddess made a mistake. Get out of here. And our guy's like, huh, all right, well, I'll leave. He's a little miffed about the goddess. He's annoyed. He's like, well, I guess I'm gonna just solve the. I could probably defeat the demon lord by myself. I probably guess I'll go do that. But then a bunch of assassins show up because him being removed is mostly just so that the other summoned heroes don't suspect what's really going on. And you know what's really going on? The heroes aren't meant to defeat the Demon Lord. When summoned heroes die, their powers get absorbed into a super... they don't call it a superhero, but it's basically that. They have figured out through science or magic, I think it's magic, a way to absorb the abilities of summoned heroes so that they can defeat the Demon Lord, who, we also find out, is not the villain of this story. It is that the goddess, perhaps it's the goddess, perhaps it's just human greed. There's a peace treaty already, and also the demons have been on the off foot for many years. So our dude kind of figures out a lot of this, and he gets information from the Demon Lord because he goes to visit the Demon Lord, who, I should stress, he could defeat at any time. She is new on the job. She is underpowered. She is just trying her best. She's got a sick sister, and she's got she's got this whole world, the demon realm. She's got to try to support them. They're living in abject poverty. Things are not going great. Yeah, it is kind of like she's just getting by. And he's just like, hey, I'm a hero. Wait. I'm kind of pissed off at these guys, so I want to see what's going on. And he learns all about this because they sent assassins after him, and he faked his own death. So they think that they think he's just like, I'm just gonna fake my own death so I can see what's going on. But he realizes, like, oh yeah, humanity in this world is not the right side of this conflict, and maybe one side shouldn't defeat the other for eternity. But it's very clear that, like, this is some bullshit. Okay, well, I'm not going to go and defeat humanity. But what I can do is train the Demon Lord so that she can whoop everybody's ass. We're at the point now in the story where some other summoned heroes from the first one have started to maybe realize that this is not... They've been lied to. They're not fully aware that they are being used. They're starting to come around to it. But at the very least, they realize, like, hey, we got sent to die here. They were expected to be defeated. They kind of realize. And also the guy they said, were told had left, is alive and well. And also clearly capable. It's also cute. The Demon Lord is a cute young lady trying her best, and she loves her sister very much, and her sister's cute and fun, and like, yeah, just immediately understands, like, well, if you'll make me stronger so I can help, like, my people, like, yes, I will. I don't care that you're from another world and you're incredibly strong, obviously, because you broke into this place and you didn't kill anybody. Thank you very much for not killing anyone on the way in. And it's just like, yeah, it's a fun little story. I think it will get gruesome. Will there be comeuppance? I have to assume there will be some comeuppance from the humans who, if they really just wanted to defeat the demons, all they had to do was ask the very strong guy that got summoned, who they thought was a mistake. But I guess it's a good idea. Like, he would have figured it out pretty quickly anyway. But, yeah. Before he found out about the whole, like, a lot of it, he was, I think, just doing it because he was annoyed that they didn't recognize his greatness. It's a fun series. I was exiled from the Heroes Party, so I tried raising the Demon Lord to be unbelievably strong. The other series that I wanted to talk about, I have read a lot of, volumes of this thing. It is very different from the typical story that I chat with you all about. It is called The Fiancée Chosen by the Ring. And it is in a fantasy world with magic. And it is the unlikely... It is a romance series, shoujo. And it takes the tried and true method of two people who are pretending to be in love, or at the very least engaged, who turn out to actually fall in love with each other. Spoiler alert, the two main characters in this story who are pretending to be engaged catch actual feelings for one another. You knew that. But yeah, there's a lot of destiny and fate in this one. But basically, our dude. Our lady is our main character. No reincarnation. This is not a dating game. This is not or whatever. No isekai. This girl is kind of a loner. She likes knitting, but doesn't or crochet. Yeah, crochet. She likes crochet and knitting and needlepoint, but not really hanging out with people. But she is a noble woman, and her brother is under the weather, so she goes in his place to a function which she doesn't really want to be at. And then, like, the first page of it, she gets hit in the forehead with a ring. She's like, what? And then this noble is like, well, the ring chose you. Let's get married. She's like, what? Now, obviously, he's like, hey, we'll talk about this. So this noble is handsome and interesting and a knight and well-to-do, works with the crown prince. He doesn't really want to get married. And most of the time he goes to these noble functions, the functions for nobles, and he just gets approached by all these ladies. And some of them are just interested in him for his looks. And others are interested in him for his power and connections. Or they're not even doing it, but they're being sent in by people that want to upset the crown prince because they're childhood friends. They want to upset the power balance of the crown prince. Or perhaps they lean towards the second in line prince, and they're trying to abdicate the throne and all this other stuff, right? So finally, just out of desperation, he's like, look, I believe in destiny. And so whoever this ring chooses, that is my bride. And he's like, that woman, that's my bride. And he's like, hey, would you mind playing along with this? Would that be cool if you played along? Because it would help me out. And she was like, well, if we're engaged, then my father won't be trying to set me up with people either. So yes, let's do it. Because she's never really been one for love, but she has been one for doing her needlework. That's her thing. So they have dates, which is just tea dates. He has magic abilities, and he loves telling fortunes. He loves using magic to tell fortunes, which is considered in that society kind of like a girl's hobby. And he's kind of hesitant to mention it, but she's very supportive of it. And he's interested in her, and they have nice conversations, and they're like, could be friends. And they're becoming way more friendly. And then he notices, hey, some of the needlework that you do contains magical properties. Are you a mage? And she's like, or a witch. And she's like, no, I don't think so. It's like, well, your family line is oh, you're a primordial witch. Because they go and talk to the prince about it. And they have like examiners examine the stuff, and these mages come. If she puts her heart and soul and she's thinking of things when she's making them, they do have properties. Things to keep you warm because she made a coat for a family member that was traveling, or there's a protective spell on I forget what it was, like a metal, or it was something like a pin or something. But Baer, necktie had some properties of it as well. But she's been subconsciously pouring magic, primordial magic, into the items that she's made. And so, like, as the story progresses and they've been spending time together, a thing that I really like is at a certain point, they both completely and totally stop being worried. The trope where, like, the situations of like, oh, well, we should go wedding dress shopping, or, well, you need to decide who's going to be coming. Like, that stuff doesn't happen. because they just naturally spend a lot of time together, and the awkwardness of, oh, we're an item, like, oh, this is a fake engagement, kind of fades away. There's a point where she's like, well, at some point, we'll have to call it off, and my status won't be lowered that much if he's like, oh, like, well, she'll just blame me. But there becomes a point where she would have to leave to help out with magical research because she's a primordial witch, and people are interested in talking with her about that. The country is interested in her. And they wouldn't be able to get married because she would be away. And it would be many years. And she's like, well, we should probably break off the engagement because that way you can find someone to actually fall in love with. And he's like, okay, I'm going to be selfish and say don't go because I don't want to break off the engagement because I want to marry you for actual real. And she's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to go either. Because she's like, well, this job would have just been doing needlework all day with no other real responsibilities. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I can still do needlework here and also be with you. And so they get together. And then some other stuff happens, and I'm at the point now in reading it where, like, more about her being a primordial witch is going to be complicated and it's going to get rough. There's some other characters I didn't even talk about that are annoying or interesting. There's a rival that is like, there are a couple jokes in it that aren't good. A criticism I have of this is there is a guy who is also a beautiful knight and considers our main dude to be his rival. And he is very mad that, because they're both bachelors, they're both like not, but like our main guy is going to marry like a kind of boring, plain Jane woman who's not. She's beautiful, but she's not extravagantly beautiful. She's not gorgeous. She's not like as pretty as these two dudes are. So he's like mad, and they're like, oh, because you're in love with him. And he's like, I'm not in love with him. I just think that he can't marry someone ugly. That doesn't make sense. We both are beautiful. It's like he's very aware that he's gorgeous. And like that becomes a reoccurring gag where they're like, no, I totally understand it. I totally get it. Like, I think we're both like, yeah, you're my rival for him. And he's like, and they're accepting of it. It's not that, oh, you're gay as like a punchline. But it is a joke that people assume that he is in love with the other guy. And he's not. And it's not the best. It's something I don't enjoy. Also, he's barely in it eventually. There's like a duel. And he's like not around as much. And that's great. Because I'm not as interested in that character. But overall, it's lovely. There's many volumes of this. I think there's maybe 8 volumes. I think I'm on volume 4 or 5 right now as I'm reading through. The Fiancée Chosen by the Ring. It's solid. It's a solid piece of storytelling that I've really come to enjoy. So I would recommend it. If you're looking for a little romance with some magical elements, which some people are never looking for, and other people really seem to like. So that might be something up your alley. And now I want to tell you about anime. Sweet Reincarnation. As I mentioned, Zom 100 did not have an episode that aired this week because of the 2023 World Athletic Championships, which is airing on Japanese television. It postponed The Great Cleric, I believe, for 2 straight weeks, which is a bummer. And it has postponed this episode of Zom 100. Hopefully, I believe they'll be back next week. Which is probably not the worst thing in the world, because that seems to be an expensive anime. And the quality's been good, so I would like the quality to continue. So hopefully this week off will just benefit the production. But over on Sweet Reincarnation, an anime about a guy who is a pastry chef who dies in an accident, and He's reincarnated in a medieval style fantasy world with magic and things, and all he wants to do is bake cool pastry creations and make desserts. But he's the son of a lord, a local lord, and he knows that he is destined to have to do a bunch of administrative tasks and use his overpowered magic ability of any magic that he has ever seen. He can copy it, so he can do multiple magics. Also, his name is Pastry, and his father's name is Casserole, because there is a food naming theme in this one, not unlike Dragon Ball. There are a lot of characters named after food. Also, he rarely, if ever, gets to cook. He just never really gets to cook food, which is funny. This last episode, his fiancée, Licorice, actually made something, and she used salt instead of sugar in the sweets. But he ate it anyway because he knew it meant something to her. He's a good guy. Anyway, this episode, Casserole has to tell Agnes Brioche, who is this old lady who is like higher them in ranking and has been trying to figure out ways to use pastry as a political tool. Finds out that that Pastry is engaged and is furious because that means that Licorice's father just got both his daughters engaged to powerful people, and trying to gain political influence to surpass her. Let's see. And then, meanwhile, and that's going to come around towards the end of the episode. Meanwhile, Pastry gets some. He goes on a mission. He wants to help the people, right? Because he's the next local lord. He wants to help the people, and his goal is to get some sustainable crops that work in poor soil, which they're currently in. So he receives a gift of some trees, some saplings, black locust saplings, which produce a nectar that's like honey. And he's also like, all right, I'm going to work on the reservoirs. We gotta be able to store more rainwater so that we can have our, so we can like take care of everything here. And so he uses magic abilities that he's had copied and does a bunch of nonsense with it. And his father at first is psyched about it because he's like, the farms are all profitable and everybody's pretty jazzed about all this. Things are working great. But then, so he has to tunnel. He's using a spell called Drill. And because he wants to have a bunch of reservoirs for water, which means that he drills out completely a mountain. He just removes a mountain completely for that. So Casserole punishes him and also his lieutenants, his childhood friends who were his guards for not stopping him. So they all get punished. And then, as I said, Brioche is mad about what's going on because she needs a way to control Pastry. And she doesn't have a daughter for Pastry to marry because she could have certainly forced that to happen. And she can't marry him. So she's like, I've got another idea to keep him underfoot. We don't know what that is yet, but that'll probably be in the next couple episodes. So they got a lot of they build canals for the farms. Pastry's doing a great job with all of that, and also the trees that he planted. Brioche invites Pastry to a tea party, and then also Casserole announces that Licorice is moving in with them so she can get to know Pastry better and also her future parents-in-law. So we're going to see more of Licorice. And she's a fun little character. There's not a lot to say about Licorice. She's nice and immediately had a crush on Pastry and is happy that they're engaged. And so that's working out pretty good. Is Sweet Reincarnation an excellent anime? It's fine. It is something to watch. It is a pretty easy to watch isekai with fun enough characters. I think the art style is totally acceptable, and it doesn't look bad or anything. It is not an egregious example of cheap anime, as many isekai are. I do think I would probably like it better if it was a slow-paced slice of life isekai about a magic like influenced pastry chef in a fantasy world, because I like those. And there's very little baking or pastry work in this particular series, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. It's just, like I said, a little bit of a bummer. But Sweet Reincarnation is still a fine enough show, and I do recommend it. It's not the best show of the season. It's not Undead Murder Farce or anything, but it's still pretty good. Or Zom 100, which is also excellent. And at the very least, fun. That's also at least very fun. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all that I want to talk. All that stuff that I want to talk about. Let's see. What else do I want to say? Now is the part of the stream when I want to hear from you. What are you watching? What are you playing? What's going on? You seen any movies or TV shows, or you're reading anything? Reading manga or books or whatever? Historical fiction or just fiction or just history books. I don't know. Doing research for a paper. Watching anything? Playing any games? Let me know in the chat. I will tell you while I let you all put in there, and I'll read through as we talk. What I've been up to, playing Hearthstone. That's my daily driver. That's my daily game is Hearthstone. I've got a big Paladin deck that is... I have a heal-a-lot Paladin deck. A big heal-a-lot Paladin deck, which has been doing very well at dumpster standard, like low-end standard, because I don't normally play standard. I'm more of a wild player, but that standard deck has done pretty well because I was getting tired of fighting bots at my level in wild. I was facing a lot of bots playing like auto decks, which were very frustrating, and I was getting sick of that shit. So I have been happy to have something else to play. Let's see. Also, playing it tomorrow on stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, Mars First Logistics. I played a little bit more of that today. I have a bunch of side jobs to do, and then we will attempt to complete one of the main jobs. I have 3 main jobs, and I cannot fucking complete any of them. And I think one of them, if I get some suggestions from you of like a way to make it work, and maybe I can get one of those 3 jobs done. I don't know how I would. They just all seem improbable that I will be able to complete any of those tasks. But I'd like to. And those are the games I've been playing. I mean, I'm watching a lot of anime. I don't really have anything else TV wise that I've been checking out. Rose says, My Happy Marriage. You've been watching My Happy Marriage and Genshin Impact latest update. Okay, nice. I haven't watched My Happy Marriage. I should check that out. And you've been checking out Genshin Impact. I should say that I have been playing a lot of, or I've been watching The Fire Hunter. I'm not going to talk about specifics about The Fire Hunter, but that's my next Pat Bear's Anime Club episode. That was a show that multiple people suggested I check out from 2023, and since I hadn't watched it, I was like, I should watch that, and I'll talk about it in the next week. So my next Pat Bear's Anime Club will be a mini review of The Fire Hunter, an anime that I didn't watch, but I know some people really, really enjoyed, so I'll be checking that out. Ghostfowl's played more BG3, trying to install some batteries on some Game Boy games. Oh, you're replacing some Game Boy batteries. Nice. Cool. Good luck to you. Holocure has an update and came out on Steam, so I'm playing that again. Nice. I didn't know that came out on Steam. That's cool. Wristfan says, I'm dipping my toes into BG3. Nice. Getting into some Baldur's Gate action. Lord Crashin says, I finished Giant Bomb's Pathfinder mini campaign. That was fun. Now I'm in the middle of the D&D campaign where Dan is not a fan of Brad pickpocketing him and not being able to retaliate. Yeah. It took Dan a long time to kind of get into tabletop RPGs. He eventually did it in audio format, but it took him quite some time to kind of get the vibe. He needed to play Fiasco with a good GM, and eventually he did, and he had fun doing it, but it took him a while to get that far, to get to that point. Let's see. Aristophanes, I'm real interested to see Armored Core reviews. Oh, yeah, Armored Core 6. Rose says, my Happy Marriage is just a romance anime. Pretty mid, in my opinion, but there's many much worse. Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes a mid-romance anime is totally what you're looking for, right? Like, sometimes it's like, it doesn't have to be excellent. It could just be good enough. It could be on. We were spoiled for romance shows this year, though. Slow romance shows, particularly. We had quite a few. I mean, Ice Guy and his cool female colleague was just so good, and Level 999. I forgot what it's something or other. My Romance with Level 999, whatever. That show was also, I can't remember the full title, which sucks, but that show was very good as well. We've had some good romance this year. And of course, the ultimate romance, the one about the alien and all the cats, My Cute Crisis, the ultimate romance, falling in love with cute animals. And I'm reading an Agatha Christie novel. Oh, nice, Aristophan. That's fun. Ghostbound says, oh, yeah, waiting for AC6. Yes. Yeah, I mean, so I have a healthy respect for the Armored Core franchise. I think the Armored Core 2 is probably the last Armored Core game that I really loved because it felt like it was the right balance for me, your friend Pat, of this rules and... oh, shit, I fucked that up. I think 2 was the balance for me. There are certainly, the people that love every Armored Core game. They love them all equally, or they have their favorites, or it's 1 for sure. Yeah, that does look cool. I think the only big game this year that's left for me, big, capital B, big, one might even say, AAA is Starfield. It's Starfield. I'm gonna fucking play a shitload of Starfield. Am I gonna play smaller games? Yes, I am gonna get Cyberpunk at some point. Even if I think the thing that I like the least about Jet Set Radio is the controls, so I don't know if I actually want to play it or more as I want to watch people stream it. But at the very least, I do want to purchase it. I want to support, because they made a spiritual successor to that game, and I think that's rad. So I do want to support them, even if I'm not, like, dying to play it, because maybe playing Jet Set Radio is my least favorite part of Jet Set Radio. Maybe. But I at least want to check that out. Goodbye Volcano High I want to play. Like, there'll be a new Jackbox in October, of course, so I'll be playing that. It's the 10th Jackbox, right? Or the 9th Jack... Is it the 9th Jackbox? Let me look. I know the answer to that. Go to my library, it'll tell me. Yeah, the 10th Jackbox is this year. So I'll get the 10th Jackbox Party Pack, of course. That Starfield Xbox wrap looked real good. That did look good. You're not wrong, Aristophan. That did look nice. Been playing more Pikmin 4, and I'm on what might be the last of the maps in the second half of the game. Hoping to get second credits at some point. Nice, Lord Crashman. Yeah. There's a lot to that game, as far as I can tell. But yeah, there are games coming out that I am excited about, for sure. But I'm not the bigger things that aren't necessarily the things I'm looking for out there. I'm kind of really focused on smaller experiences because that's kind of what I come back to. Also, like, I want I want to I want to play a lot of I want to play like open world nonsense, sure, but I also like smaller little boutique experiences. I think those are worthwhile as well. So, lots of different games are out there. I think Spider-Man 2 is the only big game I'm excited about for this fall. I hear you, Look Ashton. Like I said, for me it's Starfield. Like it's Starfield. Gotta play the shit out of it. I love that they brought back 360 faceplates. Yes. Oh, also, I think that fucking leaked start menu is fine. Yeah, it's not like expressive and nonsensical, but also, you know what I used to hate back in the day? DVD menus where they put too much time and effort into them. Do you remember that? DVD menus where like a trailer you couldn't skip played and there was animation and like you go from like chapter list to like settings and like a bunch of videos play in the background and you lose control of the cursor and all that shit. I hated that stuff. Starfield, if they're spending all their time on the game and not a lot of time on the menu, the start menu, I'm fucking fine with that shit. I don't care if the start menu is boring to some weirdos looking for things to be mad at. One of the people complaining about the start menu is a big Gamergate dude, so it's cool that he's still around saying stupid shit. Yeah, and then, so therefore, part of me loves that start menu because it's bothering a piece of shit. I mean, there's, whatever. Some of it rage clickbait and rage, bait and all that other stuff. Yeah, some of that is that. And some of it is also like, hey, I don't agree with that, but people are saying this and I want to be topical about it. So I'm also saying this because, hey, a lot of people are talking about it. It's like, and all that other stuff. So I didn't even necessarily know if I was going to bring it up, but I don't care. There will be so many other things about that game that annoy me that the menu, like, also, I'll probably have a menu replacer because there could be a lot of mods. And so I'll probably have something weird going on in the background. Like a Fallout, like the Fallout static TV will probably be in the background because that'll be a mod that someone makes immediately because those kind of replacers are easy mods for people who are trying to figure out how to mod the game will do very early on. So like it's like not even a concern because people will just do shit immediately to make it, to make the game what they want the game to be. So yeah, it is not a concern in my opinion. I mean, you cannot this leaked screenshot, you can not like it. That's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong if you say, "Oh, I wish it was like cool." Like, yeah, I get that. I don't need to be cool, but I totally understand if you're like, "Oh, that's a bummer." Hey, it's our first decal, our first decal here, and we are doing we're basically putting in the GPS, the island map in this vehicle. So we'll do our first sticker here, which is the map of the island. Because remember, this is the vehicle is meant to take you around. This vehicle is meant for tourism in the park. So, yeah, of course, next to the steering wheel, there is some sort of computer device. Cool. Our first decal, or if you're Canadian, decal. And then 2 of these. This is coming together very easy. This is the majority of the build, of course. This build is the Triceratops, the vehicle, and then the mound of poop. And I believe the mound of poop will be the last thing we build. So we're doing, I'm kind of flying through this. I am assuming that I will finish this kit up on Thursday, and then I will work on something else. I am going to do a poll probably tomorrow. Perhaps later, I will do a poll of my $10 patrons about what I should build next. I have some stuff in my backlog. I don't have a lot in my backlog, but I have a few things. I got some Lego. I've got some model kits. I have some high grades and a Lego set that I'll put on the list and see if what people want me to build next. But it's always good to have something on deck, because even though there are 2 more bags, it might be the end of Thursday's stream that we finish this up. But also, these bags are not big, so like we might finish this off on Thursday. Reminder that my next stream is tomorrow, not Thursday. Thursday will be the following 2. That's the next build stream. My next actual stream is on tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, playing Mars First Logistics. You can check out some of the fun vehicles that I have built as I try to move objects from one location to another, with some cool visuals and fun music and just fucking good vibes. Just some real good vibes in that game. And occasionally, incredibly frustrating terrain. Lord Crashton says, like Kraft Dinner. Oh, yes, that it's Kraft Dinner in Canada and not Kraft Mac and Cheese. Which to me doesn't make any sense, because Kraft Mac and Cheese is a lunch or a snack more often to me than it is a dinner. Some people certainly have had it for dinner. But to me, I've always been like, what? Dinner? Nah. What? No. That doesn't make any sense. Dinner. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that even watching this right now that primarily have Kraft macaroni and cheese for dinner. But for me, that always felt weird. Oh, you're gonna have Kraft dinner? What are we having for lunch today? Kraft dinner? You know what I mean? Just sounds weird. Just sounds weird and wrong. Anyway, we got some work done here. We got a Triceratops. We got Ellie. We got some of a vehicle done. I'm gonna take a photo of this here in a minute. But that is when I'll take a photo. That is probably gonna do it. Yeah, that's gonna do it for our stream tonight. So let me just take a photo here of what I've been working on here. Do it like that, yeah. And we'll get ready to raid, because that is how we end every stream around here, is with a raid. We always end with a raid, because we're going to go find some cool people doing some cool stuff, and we're going to go hang out with them. Because you have been gracious enough to hang out with me. The least we can do is go spend a little time with somebody else who, at the very least, I know is awesome. So we'll go see what people are up to here. Who's streaming? Who's doing stuff? Mary Kish is playing Amnesia, the Bunker, which is a game that I would not play, but I would certainly watch Mary play and be scared while playing, because Mary Kish is great people. We love Mary here, so of course we're going to go spend a little bit of time with her for Merry Mondays. So feel free to come along on this stream as I set up this raid, or as I come along this raid. And thank you very much for hanging out. This has been my 6th year this is my affiliate anniversary. 6 years of being an affiliate here at Twitch. Oh, the time flies. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I hope you come along on this raid. I hope you come back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern for Mars First Logistics, and come back on I guess come back on Thursday for making a Lego poop. Thanks all so much for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.